since we got the drop for the ESRB rating for Bleach Rebirth the Souls, there is something that we have to go into more detail in regards to. I stated in a previous video that the rating stated that you would have characters from a third person's perspective. Players use sword, bows, guns. Yes, that's right, guns. Now, I said that this implies that Stark is in the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he is playable. Well, we have to go back to that. Third person perspective means that it's likely in your control. When you see a person from a third point of view, that's most likely you're playing with the character, and which means that they're telling you that from a third person's perspective, you will use a character with guns. And you know what that means? That means that Stark is playable in this game. Now, before you say, what, yo? What? Isn't there other characters with guns? Stark is the only person that comes to mind when we think guns. What else does that entail? If Stark is in this game, is his Fraction Lil Lynette Gingerbeck back, whatever the fuck you call her, she a small back? Anyway, is she in the game? Because if she is, maybe she's going to work as a support, similar to how Mayuri has Nemu, because I can see that happen. And she did come into the fight even though she wasn't even useful, and then when it came down to them coming together, they became his full power. And then from there, that's when he sports the guns and he start going crazy and start spamming the shit. So perhaps we already can see the pattern. I can imagine that Stark starts off the battle and his regular form, he's able to spam the Seto, but then when he goes into his Resurrection form, the Seto turns into the gun Seto and it changes mechanics and it's a bit different. And maybe his move with the chick changes, but let's just say she's not going to be a part of moveset. I could definitely see the Seto being a signature move, just because the way Stark made use of the Setos, I could see that being his main signature attack. And then he has, and this is interesting because it would have worked more so with him than Ukiura, where he can actually take a piece of his soul and use it to attack, as we saw him do with the wolf Setos. So maybe when he goes into his Resurrection, maybe his signature allows him to do that, but it takes away a bit of his health, perhaps. And then the other thing is that I know in his moveset he used this sword-like attack, but he never used like it for anything else, like kind of like a taunt thing. Perhaps that could be thrown in there. And I talked about this in the past before, where he can have a move like that. Then on top of that, we also have to think about what maybe one of his other attacks could be. And I mean, outside of the Seto, I think it was Seto Meticula where he does the spamming Seto. Perhaps that might be one of the Keycone moves. Maybe it might be one of the final Keycone moves. I mean, in terms of Stark, I feel like he has gun spam and Seto. Gun spam, Seto, and the wolves. So maybe like one of the particular moves that he uses with the wolves would end up being a Keycone move itself, and then maybe he gets like a counter or some shit. But pretty much this video, I'm telling you guys that he is going to be in this game thanks to the ESRB rating. He is going to be playable thanks to it stating that from a third person's perspective, players will use. So they're telling you that you're going to make use of guns, and the only character that we know that use guns is Stark, at least in this part of the story. Stark's in the game. That's all, folks. I'm Makai Sand, what yo, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.